Welcome to Authors Night Live, where we dive into the stories behind the books and the brilliant minds that created them. Tune in each week as we bring you insightful conversations with authors who share their experiences, creative processes, and the powerful message they convey. Oh my God, this is our first episode of Authors Night Live. And woo, I tell you, it has been a journey getting started. Authors Night Live started a couple years ago when I would feature some of the authors of the anthologies, not only that I would publish, or some of the ladies who had anthologies that wanted to be on Authors Night Live. It was a Zoom party. But we decided after taking some time off, I've been on this network for a couple years, but I took some time off. And guess what? When I came back, I had a whole new idea to focus on just authors. I'm super excited about authors and the books, and I just love that. And so I've had the honor of publishing so many authors, both in our anthologies as well as single books. So I want to give authors this platform. So tonight is Authors Night Live. So you know what? I'm going to be straight up with you. We're trying to get the curts out tonight. So if you see some hiccups, just keep on going. Keep watching. All right, tonight, I'm going to talk about our first guest. Our first guest tonight is, let's see who our first guests are tonight. They are, our first guest is Dr. Michelle Hanna. She is a personal and relationship coach, entrepreneur, and author of the Self Vows, a series that helps children and teens build self-awareness and emotional resilience. Our second guest is Marline C. Duroseau. She's an author, a speaker, and a leadership executive who shares her personal journey with infertility in her book, It'll Happen by 30, offering hope to women and couples on similar paths. So come on, y'all. Let's dive in with our first guest, Dr. Michelle Hanna.
Hi, how are you, Dr. Berry?
Yeah, I am wonderful. We are finally here for the first episode of Authors Night Live, and you are an author. Our first guest. So Dr. Michelle is a force of transformation and healing. As a relationship coach, entrepreneur, and speaker, she's been empowering others for over 15 years. She is the author of the Self Vows, seven vows that will change your life, as well as several other influential works, including The Breaking Point. Her most recent focus, the Self Vows series for children and teens, which offers guidance, teaching essentials, value like kindness and resilience and self-care. Woo! You're doing a lot. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me about this book and what really inspired you to write it.
So the Self Vows Littles, honestly, it was
book.
And just when he came into this world, I literally started massaging him from day one. And when I looked at his little life, I thought, you know what? This Self Vows concept starts from birth. What if I had this concept from the time that I entered this world to 5 years old, when that is the most developmental years of all of our lives? Mm-hmm. And honestly, inside, I was like, I don't want to write a children's book. I don't want to do that. That is not my wheelhouse or whatever. But, you know, it's something about the love and the bond with me and my grandson. He has opened me wide open to see the world differently, from a new perspective of eyes, not just singles, not just couples, but it starts when we enter the world. So that was honestly, that was a big inspiration behind the Self Vows Littles. And honestly, the Self Vows teens was actually me thinking about how much I needed to self vows as a teen.
Wow. I love that. And so we're going to go ahead and share your trailer.
To Amari Amor, my cherished grandson, you are the bright light that paved the way for me to write this book. I hope this book acts as a gentle reminder of how important it is to love and care for oneself. Although the Self Vows Littles book was inspired by my sweet grandson, it was also inspired by other littles, adults, teens. Self-love, self-worth, great values, and a positive mindset transcends any age. The Self Vows Littles book is designed to teach children essential values like kindness, bravery, honesty, respect, and self-care. Through engaging content and fun activities, kids learn important life lessons in a relatable way. Each part of the book focuses on different values and creative exercises that encourage children to practice what they've learned. From sharing toys to expressing emotions, the book provides hands-on activities that make learning meaningful and fun. Beautifully illustrated by Iman Fatima, the vibrant images bring each lesson to life and making the reading experience enjoyable. Perfect for parents, guardians, and educators.
I can see how our children can benefit from using those self-vows in their daily life. If we're able to work with our children and incorporate the self-vows while raising our children, we will for sure have children that not only love and respect themselves, but in turn they'll turn around and love and respect will be shown out to their family members, to their schoolmates, all of that.
The Self Vows Littles book helps children grow into compassionate, confident, and respectful individuals while having some fun along the way. May you, my darling Amari, always exhibit the virtues of a gentleman and emotional stability as you mature, always remembering that you are supported and loved.
Thank you.
Dr. Michelle.
Dr. Michelle.
And Amari from my book.
Amari, my book.
Oh my God, that was absolutely beautiful. Oh my God, thank you for doing that. So many people have wonderful ideas like that and want to do something like that. I first commend you of just going forward and doing it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Every time I see it, it just warms my heart in such a core way. It really, really does.
Wow. Now, your work centers on self awareness and self love. How important is it to still instill these values in kids and teens at a young age?
Oh, it's vitally important because self love is innate. Self care is the execution of self love. So, a lot of times when we see that kids don't even have a self care regimen, it is definitely reflective of the self love. And we are supposed to be the parents that, or not even just the parents, the guardians, the caregivers, the educators, the aunts, the uncles, that we are supposed to nurture that self love. And when that self love is nurtured and when it's encouraged, it is such an important value because it all starts with love. Love connects to even our voice. Sometimes when we see children not utilizing their voice, it's because I believe that it hasn't been nurtured. They haven't been given the permission to actually express themselves. It's almost like, telling a child, oh, don't wish to be a violinist, or don't wish to be an artist or anything like that. You need to go to school to make something that will make money. Go get a career that will make money. And when you say that to a child, you are literally just, it's almost like you just decrease the authenticity of who they are. Let them be free to have their passion. And I just think that that's the most important thing we can do for kids, is to really allow them to be free in their authenticity by our guidance.
Awesome. Now, in writing this book, did you have to overcome any challenges? Did it, bring you back to something you may have experienced, or, some emotional challenges you may have had to face by writing the chapters on bullying and self-forgiveness?
Absolutely. So that was a little triggering for me, honestly, because I was really bullied as a kid. I remember feeling so much anxiety on Sunday night because I knew I had to go to school Monday morning. And I was really skinny and really small, and I had these long pigtails. And as soon as I would step on the grounds of the school, they would start pulling my hair. They would, sometimes throw food on me. And that was so opposite from what I experienced at home. I experienced love at home. I experienced encouragement at home, and kindness. And so it was very conflicting when I went to school and experienced a totally different feeling, a feeling unheard, unseen. And honestly, I was bullied into swallowing my voice. And it began to suffocate me. And it took me a long time to actually find that voice back. And I think a lot of kids, they end up swallowing their voice because they're being bullied. And I just feel like if we start with self-love, self-awareness, kindness, compassion, the importance of empathy, and we teach our kids that, then we are really raising better human beings to enter the world, because that's who's going to be running the world at some point. So it's very, very important. So that was a bit triggering to me because it took me back to that time. I definitely shared some tears, and I had to write a letter to myself at that age. At 52, I'm writing a letter to my 9-year-old self and just telling her how beautiful she was, and that I loved her, and how compassionate I was to her journey of going through that bullying phase.
Wow. Now, in your expertise, you've had to deal with some emotional issues from adults or children, and children who, have those issues from childhood. What are some of the ways, because I was bullied as well, what are some of the ways that parents can find out? Because a lot of times kids don't talk. I didn't know how to convey. I don't know if you did, how to convey that to my parents, that I was being bullied. I just kind of took it and, toughened up. And, I say it made me tougher, but really it had issues. Like you said, some things trigger those issues even today. So what can parents do now to both find out if this is going on and how to deal with that?
So I think that if you have an open line of communication in the very beginning, that you're not parenting by fear. Me and my mom talk about this all the time, because she is not the same. She's not the same great grandma. That is not my mother. She wasn't the same grandma to my daughter. I was not the mother that I was raised with. But we kind of laugh about it now. It was kind of a lot of parenting through fear, in a sense of you were scared to kind of say certain things, because my mom would say, toughen up, it's okay, just go in there and you stand up to them, don't let them bully you around. But that did not communicate to effective tools on what to do, because I was scared. That was what her mother told her, right? So I think that having an open line of communication without judgment, and that kids feel that they can open up to you and they can talk to you. And then if you don't know, because it's okay as a parent, we don't know everything. We get it wrong a lot. So it's okay to reach out to some experts in that area to help you with some tools that you can provide your children with and provide that safe space. And then I also say, get involved. sometimes you need to go talk to the parent of the bully, and have a conversation with them, and maybe also maybe provide them some tools about self-love and compassion and kindness on what maybe they can provide to their child, because maybe they don't even know as well. We all are connected, so we all should be willing to teach one another.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you for that. What I want to do now is I want to read an excerpt of your book. In chapter 5, the expert is, I promise to tell the truth. Telling the truth to ourselves and others is what it means to be honest. That's what we can do. Now, my question is, in the Self Vows for children, you emphasize bravery and honesty. Can your parents help children be brave and truthful, even when they're scared or worried about the consequences?
Absolutely. And I, honestly, this is my do-over with my grandson. It really is. I was a rookie parent trying to figure it out. Thank God I have my mom to help me. But this is absolutely my do-over. And I'm teaching my grandson, and he's not even 2, about bravery, but I'm teaching him that through kindness, through basically teaching him that he can have courage and there's no judgment. He can talk to me. He can tell me that he just literally threw yogurt all over the couch and over him and over himself, and not be afraid and have that look on his face like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. But instead he looks at me like, come on, play. Let's do it together. And I'm like, oh my God, But I've created that environment for him that he feels so safe. And so I feel like if we create a safe environment for our children, they will feel safe to speak to us. If they know that they're not going to be judged or that they're not going to get in trouble for just having a free thought, I think is so important. I think we also can show children bravery through our own lives. We can show children courage through our own lives. I think kids should see a little bit of conflict in a healthy way so that they know how to navigate it and not always think that, ooh, I can't talk about that. That's like a hidden thing, because I grew up like that. Is that don't tell anybody what's going on, in your household. You keep it all in the house. But sometimes you need to talk to people because you actually may get some great advice and it might be a great help.
I think that, the era when we grew up, a lot of us were taught that, what goes in this house, it stays in this house. When you hear grown folks talking about, that's where it stays, right in this house. And so we grew up with that, and that kind of shaped us as kids to not talk at all because we didn't know what part we could talk about. So we just shut down and we didn't talk enough. And so many people are coming out now about things that happened in their childhood or have to go to counseling because we were taught to be quiet and don't talk about that. So
absolutely. Now there's we all have to teach our children respect. I'm really, really big on that because I see that a lot of the children today lack that. So I'm big on respecting, but I think that if a child is being respectful and they're expressing how they feel, you want them to talk. You want them to tell you how they feel because that's how you're really going to be able to help your child the most. When a child shuts down and feels scared that they can't say something or that they're going to be judged for saying something, you're going to miss out a whole lot of what's going on with that child because they're keeping it all in. And what's happening is it's getting more layers and more layers. And lastly, guess who they're going to go to talk to for guidance? They're going to go to their peers that are actually the same age that they are, and they both don't know.
Wow. Well, I thank you so much for sharing your book today on Authors Night Live, our first episode. I appreciate you coming and sharing and for writing this book. So I want everybody to go and get the book. So tell us where the book can be found and all your pertinent information.
great. So you can go to the selfvows.com. Now, I really want you to go there because everything there is self vows. So if you're interested in the concept, what is this all about? Go to the selfvows.com, and there you will find the Self Vows Littles book, Self Vows for Teens, the Self Vows, and the Vows. You can also go to Amazon or Barnes and Noble and just Google it, and you can find it there as well. And I just would like to say, if you just need to reach out to me, and it's just, I need to have a conversation, I want to ask some questions, you can absolutely reach out to me at info@michellerhanna.com, or reach out to me, call me, 888-983-4446. I really look forward to speaking to you because we're all in this together.
Awesome, awesome. There you have it. The Self Vows Little Book by Dr. Michelle Hanna. Make sure you go pick up her book today. Thank you again for being here on Authors Night Live. I wish you all the success in the world with your new books. This is a series, right?
This is a series. I'm so excited. I can't believe it. But yes, it's a whole series.
Awesome, awesome. So how often are you going to be releasing books from the series?
So what I mean by series is now we have the vows for couples, the self vows for individuals. Now we have the self vows for littles, and now we have the self vows for teens. Yes. Now I will say this. We are thinking about making the self vows littles a series. I'm almost there. I'm like 90% there. I'm trying to get to 100.
That's what happens. You start something, it's like, woo, this is the purpose. This is the purpose. You got to walk it on out.
Walk it on out.
Yes. Yes. So thank you. Thank you for your bravery and sharing the self vows and going forward and making it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And we'll see you next time. And we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to talk about we got some commercials. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We got it done.
All right.
All righty. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Guess what? We don't have the commercials. Something is going on technically because this is the first episode, and so sometimes things just don't go all perfect. So one of the commercials was about Strive Publishing. Yes, Strive International Publishing. Yeah, we had to add that word international because there was some competition with another company that's publishing with the same name. So yes, we have added. So we're going through that process. Strive International Publishing. I've had the pleasure of publishing multiple books. Yes, this is the commercial right now because I don't have the commercial, so the producers are listening. Yes, we are publishing books. So if you have a book in you, you want to start a book, or you started a book and you don't know how to finish it, you don't know which direction you want to go, I'm a book coach. So I will help you get started, get going, and finish your book. All you got to do is email info@courageouswomanmag.com or go to our website at courageouswomanmag.com and subscribe. And that way you'll get our newsletter and you get all the information on what's coming up. We got the Write Your Book by Christmas boot camp. We got all kind of boot camps. So there's no reason why you can't finish your book because we can help you. Just give us a call at info@courageouswomanmag.com. Email at info@courageouswomanmag.com. So that's one of the commercials. We're going to be back with our next guest. She is also an amazing author. Yes, let's get her right in here, Marline. Hey, Marline.
Hi, how are you?
Marline C. Duroseau is a passionate advocate for women and families navigating infertility. As a speaker and leader, executive leadership, she uses her experience to offer hope and guidance to others. Her book, I'll Make It Happen. Oh, It'll Happen, by 30 tells the intimate and powerful story of her personal fertility journey from loss to resilience. Marlene's strength and transparency empowers those who feel lost in their family building path. So thank you for joining me, Marlene C. Duroseau.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. How are you doing today?
Woo! It's been a day. It's been a day, but we are getting through our first episode of Authors Night Live.
Awesome.
Yes, let me show your awesome and amazing book. Woo! It'll happen by 30. I love that. I love that. So give me the tell me the motivation that really got you to start to write this book, and the title. The title itself has a meaning.
Right. Absolutely. The title, I'll start there. What happens is I'm the type of person, and I think many women are, where we basically have our lives planned out. We want to do this by a certain age. We want to accomplish this by a certain time. Everything is all planned out. So it's amazing how, you plan your life out to be a certain way. And for me, I figured, well, I won't worry about things too much because by the time I'm 30, it'll happen. It'll happen by the time I'm 30. But you have to read the book to actually see what happened by the time I was 30. So it's just a testament to how it's important to remember that you have to sometimes pivot in life. And although you make plans, things don't always go according to plan. So then at that point, what do you do? Right? Are you willing to ride that wave and, navigate to figure out what the next steps are and, ultimately get what you want? So, and in terms of what motivating me to write the book, after having experienced a 15-year infertility journey and my journey was over, I said, man, that there has to be a way to be able to give back to the infertility community because when I was navigating that journey, it was a very, very lonely journey because not a lot of people talk about it. Sometimes you find out after you've suffered, tremendously that other people may have also experienced the same thing, but they weren't able to support you or help you because everything is, hush hush. No one talks about anything. So I said, you know what? We have to try to break the stigma. We have to try to bring awareness so that we can provide the right amount of support to the families that are dealing with this infertility issue.
Wow. Well, without further ado, let's share your book trailer.
Family is the foundation of our lives. It brings joy and a sense of belonging. 17% of couples suffer in silence with infertility. The stigma ends now. It'll Happen by 30 by infertility advocate Marline C. Duroseau offers a ray of hope. The book is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and online at mcdbe.com.
Awesome. I love it. I
Thank
love
you.
that you are brave enough to share. That's very personal situation that you're sharing in a book. Let's speak about resilience, because you had to have that in order to just get through the journey, because I know it was times when you just wanted to give up, right? So
Absolutely.
how do you personally define resilience, and how did it play a role in your journey?
I learned a long time ago, growing up, I am a child of Haitian immigrants. And one thing that my parents always instilled in all of us, nothing in life worth having comes easy. Now that I'm a mom, I can kind of put my own little twist on that, right? Because I also feel that as long as you do what it is that you set out to do and you're doing the right thing and you're doing right by others, ultimately, if you stick to it, it may be a bumpy road, but you'll get to the other side, right? But you have to feed in, you in life you get out of it what you put in. So resilience to me is remaining steadfast and allowing yourself to kind of go with the flow in terms of what your expectations are. So for instance, You may have a goal, like right now, I'm currently enrolled in my doctoral program and I'm actively recruiting and interviewing participants for my research study. And I have to tell you, it'll be 4 years in December since I've embarked on this journey, just like my infertility journey was 15 years long. But it's that thing where nothing worth having comes easy. So at that point, I said, I have to stick with it. I have to try to navigate the different options that are, provided or come about, because being resilient means you're willing to basically investigate and entertain other things that may come up, because nothing in life is always going to go exactly how you plan. And that's where the resilience comes in, because when it doesn't go as planned, what do you do? Do you just forget it and, throw away all of the hard work or whatever you've done and dedicated already, and do what then? Start over? So you have to be able to use your discernment and say, okay, at the end of the day, the picture may not look exactly how I painted it. The path may not look exactly how I envisioned it, but my ultimate goal is to get to the other side. And in getting to that other side, I have to remain steadfast and focused on what I need to do to get there. Is it going to hurt? Maybe. Will I have to cry? Maybe. Will I lose out on sleep? Yes. But it's all about that end result and sticking with it no matter what.
That's it.
Yeah,
Sticking with it no matter what. And you did that.
I
So,
did.
wow. Can you tell us about a particular moment in your infertility journey that was probably maybe the most emotional or challenging to even write about?
I have to tell you, Dr. Berry, this will never escape my memory. It will never escape my mind. And even as I talk about it, I'm learning to not choke up. But I know that in order to portray the realness and the authenticity and the relatability of what I went through with my infertility, I have to relive it and share. And it is the day that my husband and I had to, deliver our daughter after 10 years of trying, lots of ups and downs. We finally decided to do IVF, which is in vitro fertilization. And our luck, we became pregnant on the first try. And that normally doesn't happen. So to say we were excited after so long, that's an understatement. Everyone was excited, even to the point where how sometimes it's like, oh, I just want a healthy baby. Oh, no, I wanted a girl. I wanted a daughter. We went and had the ultrasound. We figured, she was a girl and I was getting bigger. And the most challenging part is writing about having to deliver her prematurely and her not making it and everything that unraveled after that. I even remember the drive home from the hospital. And even before the hospital ride home, it was you're on the maternity floor, and obviously everyone has had these babies. They're going home, with their children. And my husband and I were given a purple box, and that's what we got to take home. And it's not like you're experiencing this and then you can just forget it the next day. My body delivered a child. I was already 22 weeks and 1 day along. So my milk came in, I was lactating, I had a vaginal delivery, the whole 9 yards, postpartum. So it was a very, very challenging part, an emotional part for me to have to relive and rewrite. And even people, when they see me and they read that part of the book, they're like, how did you even, stomach this? Because the way I wrote it was raw and real in terms of what happened. We can't sugarcoat this stuff. And you need people to know it's important to basically lay it out exactly how it happened so people can understand and have a better feeling and understanding and appreciation for what people in the infertility community are going through. So writing about Angel Grace is and has been just the most challenging part of this entire journey.
Wow. Wow. So let's share an excerpt of your book, um, page 15, I believe. It's in essence, it's a good idea to have a plan, right? Unfortunately, life would not live up to all it's cracked out to be. if everything went according to plan. It's inevitable that some plans may not unravel as intended. When this happened, this was where the multitude of tests come into play. The test of faith, the test of resilience, the test of loyalty, the test of patience, the test of endurance and perseverance. Wow, you mentioned that life often tests us when things don't go according to plan. How do you personally navigate these tests? And what advice do you have for others facing unexpected challenges?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. The way I navigate tests, just in from a personal perspective, I like to ask questions because I feel that the more you know about whatever it is that's happening, and I don't say that to say you always know what type of test will come. Half of the time it's a test because you don't know, you didn't expect it to happen. But the minute it presents itself, I figure out a way. I use my faith, I ask for wisdom. I feel that I'm also blessed with discernment, and I surround myself with people who I feel know more than me or can guide me to where I can find the best answer. So when the test comes, in order for me to decide, do I stay? Do I navigate? How do I navigate? I try to ask questions. And it's important because oftentimes, sometimes things happen to you. And not only do you not know why, but if you don't understand or take the time to ask questions or try to figure out why it even happened, especially if it's out of the blue, you're not going to be able to know, for the most part, how to navigate it and what next steps to take. And the other thing I'd like to say in terms of my personal approach to tests is it sounds cliche, but in my 43 years of living on this world, I've learned, Dr. Berry, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. I planned it this way. My parents planned it this way. My teacher planned it this way, but that's not how it panned out. It happened for a reason. And for me to be in this space that I am right now as a fertility coach, a resilient expert, a confidence coach, working with women, it's like I never even fathomed that this would be the path that I would be on. And at the time that I was going through this just insufferable experience, of course, I wasn't thinking about what I'm going to do with it after, right? I was just trying to figure out staying alive and keeping up while I'm on this crazy path. But now that I've gone through it, I can look back and say, okay, this is why. This is why I had that test, because that test is now my testimony. So that when I'm in front of other women, men, couples, helping them along their journey and coaching them, they know it's coming from a source and a person that isn't just talking at them, someone who understands, someone who is relatable, someone that they know can definitely feel and have that empathetic approach with them. So all in all, one of the main reasons to give like a whole answer is everything happens for a reason. So I try to find out what that reason is. I may not get an answer, but I go down that rabbit hole, and I've learned when to stop researching too, because sometimes that's just not good for you mentally to keep trying to figure out why. Sometimes there is no why. You accept what it is, you acknowledge what it is, and you kind of, in that resilience path, investigate it, see what happens, and then later down the line, you may get the answer.
Wow. Well, there's another excerpt that I absolutely love. This it's in chapter or page 217. Be encouraged and keep the faith. One's mindset is almost more than half the battle in anything we face. If you go into any endeavor thinking you won't finish or thinking it won't work out, chances are it may not. This is partly because of the non positive vibes being put into the atmosphere. It's easier said than done, but try and find the positive in every situation. The effect that has on your psyche will really make an impact. Now, you emphasize in the book, you emphasize the power of mindset in overcoming obstacles. What strategies do you recommend for maintaining a positive mindset, especially when things are hard?
One of the main things to maintain a positive mindset, you have to be very picky and selective and intentional about the type of everything that's around you, meaning the type of people, whether they're friends or family. Oftentimes, we feel a blind loyalty to certain people just because of the relationship that they hold in your life, but they may not be for you in that season. And it doesn't mean we don't get along, it doesn't mean we don't like each other, but if you're dealing with a tough situation, regardless of what it is, you need to try to surround yourself with positive people. And sometimes these positive people may not necessarily be the people that are helping you, but they're not helping you, but they're not hurting you either. Whereas some people that are around you that are negative, they're not helping you and they're hurting you because when you leave their space, you've consumed, your brain has taken up whatever negative vibes that they were emitting when you were around them. And unfortunately, the human body, human nature, we hang on to the negative and the what if and it won't work. And we're always more the glass half empty mindset than the glass half full. So at that point, you make an intentional decision to surround yourself with positivity and you find it anywhere, even from what you consume. So one thing is being around positive people, but let's say people isn't the issue. You try to engage in positive or uplifting self-development type audio, right? You're listening to the right podcast. If you're a faith-based person, you have your gospel or faith-based, teachings going on. And it doesn't even have to be that. You take on a approach of what else can I learn to make me better. That way, a lot of times it doesn't allow you to focus only on what you have going on that you feel isn't where you want to be yet, but you're have this positive outlook because you're learning something new. So keeping that positive mindset, a lot of it has to do with what you consume, meaning people, media, especially the people. I think that's the main thing because we're always surrounded by people. So I really, and it's hard. This is coming from a people pleaser. This is coming from a avid fixer upper for everybody. You don't want to let people down, but you can't. With that mindset, you have to be strong, set boundaries. I actually have a course on boundaries and how to practically do them because once you set that boundary, you're able to keep your mindset as positive as possible. And I can give you a real example, like what's going on in the news. You don't want to be seen as the person that wants to be naive and not know what's going on in real life. But sometimes I can't consume the local news, 7 days a week. That's just too much. I know me, it's going to affect me. So with that, I set that boundary for myself that in order to remain positive, I'm only going to consume it maybe, 3 times during the week, just so I can know what's going on. You don't want to be oblivious, but I'm not going to let that seep into my system because the minute the negativity and the what if and the fear, that's another thing. When you don't have a positive mindset, fear sets in. And everything that you did that was positive to try to work towards your goal, that fear has the potential of undoing it. And then that messes up your mindset too. So that's more what I would say in terms of keeping a positive mindset, the people around you and the type of whatever that you're consuming.
Well, in your infertility journey, not only did you have to keep a positive mindset, you had your husband had to keep a positive mindset as well. So,
Yeah.
how did that work? I know sometimes we have to, men take things a little bit differently. We have to, talk our men through a lot of things. So, what was that like? That experience having to, you know, keep a positive mindset for both of you.
It was tough because although I was going through it and we were going through it, there's still that little bit of fear or shame to bring up how you really feel to your partner. And sometimes it's a tough conversation that needs to happen. And now that we're on the other side of it and we help talk to other couples that are going through it. And I'm so proud of my husband. He was on a pregnancy loss or male infertility panel, and he was just very vulnerable and emotional. And although it's been so many years, I'm learning more about what his experience was during that time because so many people focus on the women, right? So with me, as we started to kind of navigate that journey, I learned, okay, I can trust him with how I'm feeling and not feel judged. Because when you're going through this as a woman, you already feel as though you're not enough or that you're letting your partner down. And whether this is all in your head, but it's how you feel. And I'm assuming that if I feel like that, maybe my husband feel like that, maybe the men feel like that. And then they too sometimes don't want to ask you or ask probing questions or engage in conversation because they don't want you to feel that they're asking or talking about it because they're judging you. So there was a lot of silence. There was a lot of silence. So now, like I mentioned, that we're on the other side of it. We try to talk to other couples and tell each other to definitely talk. But as we went on, because remember, our journey was 15 years. So as the time went on, because my husband's my best friend, we talk about everything. And then although I love them and knew I could trust them with everything, a woman dealing with infertility, you just feel like you're a letdown. So why do I want to keep talking to him? And maybe he's gonna not want to deal with me because of it. It's like so many things come to your mind, but the communication is important.
I think that was important for you to highlight the male perspective during this infertility because, like you said, so often we don't think about what the man must be feeling, in this situation. Why do you think it was so important to make sure that this part was in this book?
Because it's real. It's real and it's part of the process, regardless of how your infertility journey ends or your fertility journey ends, because your journey to it's not a journey to being pregnant. It's a journey to parenthood, to motherhood, to fatherhood. And no matter what, regardless of if you have a partner, you're doing it on your own, whatever, 50% of these children are the men. So we can't discount them. And I think in society and just the way that the world and us humans our makeup is, we focus all on the woman, but they're 50% of the equation. So it's very, very important for their perspective to be known and understood as well.
As we bring this interview to a close, what advice would you give to women and couples facing infertility?
Be there to support each other and do it together. That's
Um,
it.
wow, that's powerful because you need
Yep.
that. It's a journey of togetherness as well. So one thing is when you tried again, what was the time frame when you tried again, and when you
That was really tough. I delivered Angel December and I immediately went into therapy. Thank goodness I had a good OBGYN that just picked up on the fact that I wasn't doing too well. And then maybe about 6 to 7 months later, because I was immediately in therapy. I think I started therapy at my 6 week post natal appointment in January after we had the funeral for her. And then I was in therapy, so she helped me a lot. So about 6 to 7 months later, we made the courageous decision to try again. But I'm gonna tell you, that's a whole nother mission. Talk about being afraid the entire time and second guessing yourself. It was tough. It was tough.
Well, I thank you and commend you and your husband on your bravery in your infertility journey and the blessing that you got from continuing the process and continuing not giving up. So it's so many people that need to hear your story. So I thank you for just the bravery of just telling your story and putting it in a book. So I thank you so much for being here and being on Authors Night Live. Make sure that you go and get her book. So tell our audience where they can find your book and connect with you.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Berry. It's truly, truly an honor and a pleasure to be on this first episode. And the book can be found on my website, www.mcdbe.com, as it states on the screen, and also Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and we're in South Florida, so many of the independent local bookstores. So if you Google, like Dr. Michelle said, you'll be able to find it as well.
Awesome, awesome. So thank you for sharing your heartfelt story and providing hope and empowerment to those navigating the challenges of infertility. The book, It'll Happen by 30 is a testament of strength and resilience, and we're honored to have you here on Authors Night Live, first episode. So thank you again for being here, and I wish you all the best and much success to you in your continued journey to empowering others and other couples going through this infertility journey.
That's awesome. And anyone else who's on their journey, feel free to reach out to me. All the resources and my, consultations, whatever you need, coaching is on my website as well. We're here to help.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you again, and we look forward to more from Miss Marline Duroseau. And you can find out more about her on our website at courageouswomanmag.com. Make sure you go there and subscribe. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my God, we got through the first episode of Authors Night Live. Yes, there was some quirks, but it's all good. We had some amazing, amazing guests. So I hope in hearing the incredible stories and insights from our guests, Dr. Michelle R. Hannah and Marline C. Duroseau, you learn more about the show and stay updated on future episodes. Be sure to visit courageouswomanmag.com. Listen, we're going to have some more amazing people who are out here sharing their stories in a book. That is what Authors Night Live is all about. So keep tuning in for more powerful conversations with our authors who are changing the world one story at a time. I am your host, Dr. Talisha Berry, and keep watching, keep tuning in. We'll be here every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. No, I'm sorry, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, that's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until next time, keep tuning in and make sure you follow us on all social media platforms.